You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that detects, exposes, and reveals actual and hidden facts, truth, research, and statistics about all the Detroit and Michigan sports teams that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know, whether fans like it or not. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no coddling, no pop culture, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website at michigansportstruth.weebly.com, follow us on Twitter at Michigan_truth, and like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth. Also listen to us on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. The Michigan Sports Truth podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
And welcome to the Postgame edition on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes for Monday, June 25th, 2018. I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips, personally. I want to make a quick announcement before we get to the Tigers here. I just received an email from Alexander Duarte, the platform development manager of Get Vocal, a new podcasting website that allows us to a podcasting app and a website, a social media platform that allows us to have honest conversation about the topics that we feel passionate about, especially about the teams that we cover on our podcast. We don't represent or defame them. Like the Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, Pistons, Wolverines, Spartans, Chippewas, Broncos, Eagles, Griffins, Whitecaps, Drive, anything. Even their minor league systems. And I wanted to get that out there. I'm going to try to add my podcast, The Michigan Sports Truth, to Get Vocal on Thursday, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So, with that said,
That one is long gone.
Tigers blow a 4-1 lead and lose to the Athletics 5-4. The Oakland Athletics, we told you, were coming in as a red-hot team, and the Tigers saw it coming and still blew the pooch. The A's have now scored 100. Well, we'll get to that amount later, but Jordan Zimmerman against Edwin Jackson, a former Tiger. Edwin Jackson allows an RBI single to John Hicks in the fourth inning. Jordan Zimmerman goes 5 shutout innings. Then Stephen Piscotty ties it up at 1 off of Lewis Coleman. Tigers would then get out of a bases-loaded jam with Jed Lowry at bat. Nick Castellanos would put the Tigers back in the lead with a 3-run home run to make it 4-1. But then in the top of the 8th, Joe Jimenez craps the bet again. Marcus Semien, a sac fly, scoring Chris Davis to make it 4-2. Jonathan Lucroy scoring Stephen Piscotty with an RBI single, and then an RBI double by Franklin Barreto, scoring Lucroy to tie the game at 4. And then Shane Green would relieve Joe Jimenez in the 8th inning and get the rest of the 8th inning done. Jimenez would allow three innings, three earned runs in one inning, and then Shane Green gave up a game-winning home run by, guess who? Jed Lowry. And even Nick Castellanos, their last hope, would not deliver. As he lined out, to end the game, lined out to the pitcher, Trevor. Let me see what his last name is real quickly here. Trainin, his 18th save of the year. Tigers didn't commit any errors. The A's committed one. So the A's win 5-4. The A's have now scored 101 runs in the eighth inning or later, which is the greatest amount of runs already in Major League Baseball this season thus far. The Tigers, for them, they fall to 36-43, third place. Now, a half a game behind the Minnesota Twins for second place, 8.5 games back of the Cleveland Indians, who are 43-33. They play the St. Louis Cardinals at 8:15 tonight in St. Louis. But the Indians are rolling in the American League Comedy Central standings, but they got a tough team in the St. Louis Cardinals coming up, and they're on the road too, are the Indians. Tigers and Athletics, Tuesday at 7:10 for Oakland, starting pitching matchup. Frankie Montas, 4-1, 2.41 ERA, a 1.25 whip. Versus Blaine Hardy, a 3-1 record of 3.30 ERA and a 1.17 whip. That should be an interesting matchup. So the A's offense is going to be ready again tomorrow night to rally in the late innings, just like they are every day and night. In other news, Tigers signed draft picks Auburn pitcher Casey Mize and Kody Clemens to contracts. Casey Mize's contract includes a record of a whopping record $7.5 million signing bonus. That's a lot.
Oh, man!
And Clemens is foregoing his senior season at the Texas Longhorns, the University of Texas. Also, the Red Wings have signed Tyler Bertuzzi to a 2-year deal and forward right-winger Martin Ferk to a 1-year deal. They earlier declined his qualifying offer, making him a free agent, probably an unrestricted free agent. But that doesn't mean that they were going to release him. So I slipped my mind on that one. My apologies on that. So Red Wings had better get busy with their free agent signing. And then
left sideline, 3, and he answers.
The Pistons hired Sidney Lowe, a member of the Washington Wizards coaching staff, as a top assistant to head coach Dwayne Casey. So let me look up Sidney Lowe real quickly. This is the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, postgame edition for Monday, June 25th, 2018. I'm Taylor Phillips. There we go. This is from Adrian Wanowski of ESPN. Washington Wizards assistant Sidney Lowe has agreed to a deal to become the top assistant Casey with the Pistons, the league source tells ESPN. And there is his tweet on Twitter at WojESPN. So he's going to join Sean Sweeney, the other assistant coach, and player development coach, DJ Bacher, with 2 Ks, or Baker with 2 Ks. So, Ed Smith and I are going to have more info on the midweek edition Wednesday at midnight or later, and a little after midnight or something like that. That's all the truth I have for tonight, so.
It's now time for the National Sports Report with Louis Tenore.
Take it away.
All right, let's begin. We'll start with the finals first. The Royals over the Angels 2-0. Keller got the win, Skaggs got the loss, and Pretella got the save. Earlier this afternoon, just a little while ago, the Athletics over the Tigers 5-4. Trevino got the win, Green got the loss, and Teheran got the save. Right now, the Yankees are up 1-0 over the Phillies in the top of the second. 2 out with a runner on third. Pasquale is pitching, and Gardner is at bat. Moving right along, at the end of 2, the Mariners lead the Orioles 2-0. Cruz, Seager, and Healy are due up. Going into the bottom of the second, the Pirates are leading the Mets 2-0. Oh boy. Massario was pitching. Reyes, and Pawlicki are due up. At the top of the second, the D-backs lead the Marlins 3-1 with the runner on first and 2 out. Starley is pitching, and Jay is at bat. Bottom 2, no score between the Nationals and the Rays, but there are runners on second and third. Gonzalez is pitching, and Gomez is at bat. Maybe you can drive him home. We have a delay right now between the Reds and the Braves. That was supposed to start just a few minutes ago, but maybe they'll get to the action a little bit later. Coming up, the Padres will take on the Rangers in about, 20 minutes or so. Hamels and Lucci are your probable pitchers. At 8:10, the Blue Jays will take on the Astros. Happ and Verlander are your probable pitchers in that lineup, in that game. 8:15, the Indians will take on the Cardinals. Clevenger and Gant are your probable pitchers there. And at 10:05, the Cubs will take on the Dodgers. Your probable pitchers are Underwood and Menda. No relation to Carrie Underwood, of course. Oh boy. All right, so now we'll take a look at the standings. And some of you may want to be happy with this, and some of you, I can say right now, are not. Because when we take a look at this, you'll know why. Oh boy. All right, leading off in the American League East, of course, it's still a battle between the Yankees and the Red Sox. Yankees are still in front at 50-25, despite yesterday's loss, which they lost 7-6 against the Rays. It's a virtual tie, actually, because the Red Sox are 52-27, but the Yankees are in front by percentage points, 667 to 658. The rest you can throw out the window, as the Rays are 37-40, 14 back. The Blue Jays 15 back at 36-41, and the Orioles 23-53, 27.5 back. Also pending outcome of tonight's game. Oh well. In the Central, the Indians are 43-33, now have an 8-game lead over the Twins at 34-40. Tigers are 8.5 back at 36-43. The White Sox are 17.5 back at 26-51, and the Royals 24-54, 20 back. In the West, Astros are 52-27, best record in the American League. 4.5 over the Mariners at 47-31. 11 back are both the Angels and the Athletics at 41-38, and the Rangers 34-45 at 18 back. In the National League, the Braves are 44-32, have a 2.5 game lead over the Phillies at 41-34. 3 back are the Nationals at 41-35. The Mets, who are in a tailspin right now, 31-44, have lost 6 in a row at 12.5 back, and have been 20-43 since starting the season at 11-1. That is pathetic. And the Marlins are 31-47, 14 back. Central, Brewers are 45-37, 2 games ahead of Chicago at 42-33. Cardinals are 40-36, 4.5 back. Pirates are 36-41, 9 back, and the Reds are 32-45 at 13 back. In the West, the Diamondbacks are 44-33. The Dodgers are 41-35, 2 back. The Giants are 5 back at 40-39. Rockies are 38-46.5 back, and the Padres are 10.5 back at 35-45. All right, so now let's check the schedule for tomorrow's games. Everything should be all in order here, and it goes like this. All right, leading off is your 7:05 games. Oh, we have one 12-10 game. Sorry, the Nationals take on the Rays. It's a 12-10 game. 7:05 games are the Mariners taking on the Orioles, and the Yankees continuing at the Phillies. 7:10 games go like this. Angels take on the Red Sox. The Athletics take on your Tigers. The Pirates take on the Mets. The Cardinals take on the Marlins. 7:35 games. Reds take on the Braves. 8:05. Padres take on the Rangers. 8:10 games. The Twins take on the White Sox. The Royals take on the Brewers. 8:15. Blue Jays take on the Astros. And the Indians take on the Cardinals. Moving down further, 10 o'clock, the Cubs will take on the Dodgers, and the Rockies will take on the Giants. All right, so now we'll move on to World Cup actions, as we have 4 games today, and they go like this. Leading off, Saudi Arabia over Egypt 2-1, and I think Egypt is now out of contention. Uruguay blanks Russia 3-0. Russia is out. Iran and Portugal played to a 1-1 draw that was taken in the final seconds of the game on a penalty kick. Thank you very much. If Ronaldo would have made his penalty kick, Portugal would have won that game against Iran 1-1. And Spain and Morocco played to a 2-2 draw. You missed one shot and you could have won it, but you missed it, and that was from Ronaldo. And so they set up for the tie. All right, well, tomorrow's action goes like this. At 10 o'clock, Australia takes on Peru. Denmark takes on France, also at 10 o'clock. And 2 o'clock games are Iceland versus Croatia, and Nigeria takes on Argentina. Iceland. Who would have thought Iceland, to be honest with you? I never would have guessed that. I never would have guessed it myself. All right, and we have women's basketball action tomorrow. None tonight. It's not unusual for Monday. And it goes like this. The Phoenix Mercury will take on New York Liberty at 7 o'clock. The Connecticut Sun will take on the Washington Mystics at 7. 8 o'clock, the Seattle Storm will take on the Minnesota Lynx. And at 10:30, the Dallas Wings take on the LA Sparks. All right, just throw that in. So now we'll get to the news items of the day. And we read like this. Leading off, British soccer star from Everton, his name is Wayne Rodney, is close to accepting a deal to join the DC United in the MLS. Just my rotten luck. Sources told ESPN Football Club, Rodney has been considering the move for about a month now after his representatives agreed to to a deal in principle with the MLS side. Rodney, who is Manchester United's all-time leading scorer, has been here in the U.S. since the Premier League season ended, and what was being described as a fact-finding mission. After more talks with the DC United, who are at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, sources told the ESPN Football Club that Rodney is on the verge of agreeing to the move. Rodney, though, still has 1 year left in his contract at Everton after returning to Goodison Park last year. Last season he scored 11 goals in 40 games, but sources told ESPN Football Club that new manager Marco Silva will not stand in his way if he decides to leave. And this could give the MLS a big boost if he manages to come. But does my team ever get anything? No, of course not. Celtic star Kyrie Irving says he has no problem with rookie Colin Sexton to wear his number 2 jersey. Sexton, whom the Cavaliers selected 8th, thanks to the Irving trade with the Celtics last summer, says he does not feel Sexton will have to live to the expectations as Irving has did. That's a tough act to follow, to be honest with you. Okay, billboards are going up in several cities across the country and trying to recruit some guy named LeBron. Yeah, LeBron James, of course. Yeah. But it's not exactly the kind of pitch that LeBron was looking for, as he considers becoming a free agent this week. LeBron has until Friday to decide on whether to pick up his 2018-19 option, which amounts to $35.6 million with the Cavaliers. And while James has not decided on where to pick up the option, sources close to the situation tell ESPN that he has no intention of hearing such elaborate pitch meetings for teams. James may speak with a club official or owner at some point, but the presentations that have come common in NBA free agency over the years to him are unnecessary after 15 seasons. Well, that's what he says. This is 16th season in the NBA. Should he become a free agent, league sources believe that James and his agents, Rich Paul and Mark Timoney, have enough understanding of the stakes and NBA landscape to handle the process without much fanfare. Like, he really needs the fanfare anyway. And qualifying for Wimbledon begins today. That is the second, of course, tennis Grand Slam event of the year. Just a qualifying match, though. Okay. The Dodgers tie an MLB modern record yesterday with 7 solo home runs in yesterday's win over the Mets. Justin Turner's go-ahead home run in the top of the 11th was enough to be the difference in the game. The 7 solo home runs are only the second time in the modern era, dating back to 1900, according to ESPN's stats information. And the last time this occurred wasn't that long ago, when the White Sox beat the Blue Jays on this particular day in 2016. The Dodgers were one short of the franchise record of 8 home runs in a game with the Brewers in 2002. Now remember, that was 7 solo home runs. The other one was probably, with a runner on base. That's what made 8. So that's the difference right there. Back in 2002, when the Brewers were still in the National League. Dodgers season has turned around completely since mid-May. And at one point, they were 10 games below 500 early in the season, and since then have gone on a tear with a record of 25-9. And yet the Mets are 20-43 since then. My goodness. Chicago Cubs had a weekend they would rather forget, as they were swept by the last place Reds, as the bullpen again backfired, as Pedro Strop gave up a 3-run homer to Jesse Winkler on his first pitch, and it was part of a 7-run inning that saw the Cubs' 5-run lead vanish. And for the home team, according to ESPN stats information research, the 4-game sweep by the Reds was the first over the Cubs since April of 1983. I was young. Oh boy. That long ago. Wow. All right. The NFL plans to hear the appeal of Julian Edelman of his 4-game suspension today, assuming it has done already. ESPN reported this month that the Patriots receiver is facing a 4-game suspension for violating the league's policy of performance-enhancing drugs. As the Monday night quarterback reported a few days later, the substance for which Edelman was tested positive was not one of the league's drug testers. Did not recognize the remaining issues at the core of the appeal. The other issue, according to a source, is the mishandling of the documentation and the delivery of the test results. During the course of the investigation, we learned that the league made mistakes in this manner, in which test results were handled. Edelman is arguing that the missing evidence is one of the reasons that he should be exonerated. You got a point there. All right, continuing on. For those of you who have any personal interest, the NBA awards will be announced today on TNT. That's coming up at about 9 o'clock. The Capitals re-signed defenseman John Carlson to an 8-year, $64 million deal. The deal was announced by a team yesterday. Carlson has played in 608 games in his career and was an unrestricted free agent after completing his 6-year, $23 million contract. Yankees got a bad break as Gary Sanchez headed to the DL with a hip and groin injury. An MRI was expected today to get a clear diagnosis. But according to Aaron Boone, it looks like he is going to be headed to the DL list. For how long, we do not know. I didn't get any updates from that today, but as soon as we find out, I will let you know. And the College World Series is expected to get underway tonight, but right now they're in a delay. It is a best-of-3 series between Oregon State versus Arkansas. Last check, they were still in a delay, but maybe they'll get this game started at some point.
It's a finals.
Best-of-3 final.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I always seem to look forward to it. Alright, just to make sure, see if I haven't forgot anything. Alright. One more bit of note here. Just in case if I didn't do this yesterday before we got cut off, I'll read it again. The Cavaliers add forward Billy Preston to join their Summer League roster. Preston is a 5-star recruit, as well as a former McDonald's All-American in 2017. He may have committed to Kansas and was projected to be a mid-second-round draft selection by ESPN. Preston never took to the court for the Jayhawks after being involved in a car accident last November that led to an NCAA investigation into his eligibility. The NCAA never ruled on the situation, leading Preston to play overseas in Bosnia back in January. He only played 3 games before an injury forced him to return to the States. NBA scouts had a hard time gathering information since he played very few games in the past year. He also declined to take, in part, 5-on-5 drills during the Combine. Yahoo Sports first reported Pierce's agreement to the Cavaliers. I see about that. Alright, so now we'll just check back with the baseball scores and see if anything has developed since. And right now the Yankees have taken a 1-0 lead in the top of the third with 2 out and a runner on. And Vasquez is still pitching, and Aguilar is at bat. Top of the fourth. Mariners now lead the Orioles 2-0. Nobody on. Cashier is pitching, and Gordon is at bat. It's 2-0 now as the Pirates lead the Mets. 2 out with runners on first and second. Lugo is pitching, and Diaz is at bat. Top of the third. The Deeps lead the Marlins down 3-1. Charlie and Goldschmidt is at bat. No one on, no one out. Bottom two, wow. Rays are already the Nationals 6-0. Runner on second, nobody out. Miller is pitching, and Robertson is at bat. I guess for the Nationals, it's I guess for Rays now, it's almost Miller time. Oh boy, I guess it's on him. Oh boy, and all the rest are final, or will be coming up later on. All right, so and it is still a delay between Arkansas and Oregon State. All right, that takes care of my notes. I'll hand back over to you.
All right, before we sign off, I want to remind everyone to share this podcast and our entire podcast on social media and have their friends share that as well, because we want to tell them that the Michigan Sports Truth podcast is in search of a wider audience that is fans of sports, especially our teams in the state of Michigan, the Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons, for example. So please spread the word about the Michigan Sports Truth podcast on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes, its Facebook page, and its Twitter handle at Michigan_Truth. For Louis Tenore, I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Thanks very much for listening, downloading, and sharing. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
The Michigan Sports Truth podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
And mission complete.